What's up guys, welcome back to the channel. Today I'm going to show you how to change the air filter on this 2015 ZX10. First thing you're going to need is your key. Let's get started. Go ahead and pop the passenger seat off. Next thing we're going to do is take out these 4 Allen head bolts and pop off the top of the tail section. So I'm going to use a 4mm T-handle and take all 4 of these bolts off. Okay, once you've got the 4 bolts out, this actually just slides back and then you take it off. That's it. Next, we're going to take off these 2 seat bolts, and that will allow us to remove the seat. To remove the seat, I'm going to use a 10mm T-handle. Next, we're going to remove this side panel, which for the most part covers up a bunch of electronics. So there's a bolt here, and there's a bolt right there. And you've got 1 panel on each side. They both need to come off. I'm using the same 4mm T-handle to take off both of these bolts and remove the side cover. So these bolts are quite drastically different in length, and the ones up front by the triple clamps have a Teflon washer. So it's really hard to get these confused and mixed up. But there are other bolts we're going to take off that are similar in size, and so try and keep your bolts separated so that you don't get them mixed up. On the left side, you're going to have some electronic hardware here, and it's really easy to take off. So this is what the inside of the side cover looks like. You've got a piece of Velcro here. You've got some tabs that basically push through into some rubber grommets that are on the side of the motorcycle. And that's about it. So I took off the front bolt for the side cover on the other side, and this little Teflon washer actually stayed on the cover, didn't come off with the bolt. So be careful with that. Make sure that you don't lose your Teflon washers. So now we're going to take off this cover here, and there is 1 bolt here and then another one on the other side. This is the bolt that I was saying earlier is similar in size to this bolt here. So it's just a little bit longer if I remember correctly, and you just want to make sure that you keep them separated, because I did get them mixed up one time, and that won't work very well. Okay, we've got both side covers off. We've got the top cover off. And now we're going to remove this 8mm bolt that goes into the tank. There's 1 on each side, and that will allow us to lift the tank up and gain access to the air box, which is partially underneath the tank. As you lift up the tank, you're going to want to remove these 2 hoses. They're color coded, which is really nice because they plug in right next to each other, so you can't get those confused. There's another hose on the other side of the tank. Then next, we're going to take this electrical connection off, take this electrical connection off, and then we'll remove these screws. You'll need a Phillips head screwdriver for these. They're all the way around, and then there's 1 down in this hole in the center that you can't see. It's a little bit tricky to get to. Once we remove all of those, we'll be able to take the top of the air box off and pull the filter out. So one quick tip, this particular screw on this corner right here has this bendable holder for this wire loom right here. It actually sits right in here, and then this gets bent over to kind of keep that wire loom in place. So make sure that you put that back in the same corner. For the most part, these are all interchangeable. You don't need to worry about which hole each screw came out of. You just need to make sure that the wire loom holder gets put back on this 1 corner right here. The rest of them are all good to go. For the center screw, which you can't see, it's somewhat difficult to get to. You need the right size Phillips head screwdriver because you don't have a lot of clearance before you hit the tank, and then you need to be able to drop down into this hole. It's somewhat deep, so you're gonna have to play around with finding the right size. You can't see what you're doing, so the technique I use is to just aim for the center and then slowly turn the screwdriver until you feel the end of the screwdriver drop into the head of the screw. You'll know, you'll feel it, it'll be really obvious. The screwdriver will drop down just a hair and you'll feel it kind of lock. Once you've got that, then go ahead and apply some torque and pull the screw out. It helps if you have a magnetic screwdriver, but also you got to be careful with that because of all the electronics on these bikes. All right, once you've got all the screws out and you've got your electrical connections here and here disconnected, everything's out of the way, you can pop this guy up. You don't need to take it off the bike. You'd have to disconnect your fuel rails to do that anyway. But you just need access to the air filter, which is right here. And this is not a stock air filter. It is a K&N air filter. This is a reusable, washable air filter. But if you are using the stock air filter, this is where you're just gonna throw this away and put a new one in. So I'm gonna sit this over here for now because we're gonna clean that. And that will be a video all to its own. At this point, before you put the new air filter in, I would recommend cleaning out the air box. You can even use a vacuum cleaner if you've got little bugs and whatnot that have made it through the screen on the front. It's this screen right here. Or if you're one of those hardcore guys that takes a screen out to get maximum airflow. Any which way, bugs will make it through and get into your air box. A vacuum cleaner is a good way to suck all that out, get it nice and clean. Another tip is if you can time this such that your gas tank is low and not necessarily empty, but not full. The opposite of full is what we're shooting for. Obviously, it's a little bit easier to move the gas tank up and down when it's not full of gasoline. Okay guys, so at this point, it's really simple. You're just gonna reverse the process. Like I said, I'm gonna clean my K&N air filter. I'll make a whole separate video for how to properly clean those. They need to be washed and dried out and oiled. All right guys, that's gonna conclude this video. If you made it this far, thank you. And hopefully this video inspired somebody to do their own maintenance. Maybe you're a little bit intimidated by some of these modern bikes with all the electronics. It's not that big of a deal. We didn't use any special tools. We used a screwdriver and a couple of wrenches and our key to take off the passenger seat. That was it. You just gotta take your time and listen to some of the tips I showed you because I've made those mistakes before. And you got this, you got this. So, till next time guys, keep the rubber side down. We'll see you in the next video. Probably will be cleaning my K&N air filter. I'm gonna show you guys how to wash and re-oil and prep those. If not that, it'll be a Gixxer. Gixxer's over there looking at me like, come on man, get me running. Those will probably be the next two videos I release in the coming week or two. So we'll see you guys in the next one. Take it easy, bye.